She just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance.
Colby praises Young Bucks. Netball South Africa named Spa Proteas touring squad for New Zealand and Australia. And Noah Lyle says that the color of his medal does not change his character. More details at 3:30.
I'm Andile Ncube umzilankati siqongo no George Nto.
Finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
I know Manchester United lost. I know the Box won convincingly so, and so on and so on. But there are big issues to talk about, and we're going to get to that right away. This is the National Pulse. First up, The ANC councillors from across the country are currently meeting in Johannesburg at the FNB Stadium as part of preparations for next year's local government elections. Now, we're going to chat to Ntebo Mokobo shortly, but the president of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, is currently addressing the delegates. So let's cross to him right away. Okay, in fact, what we'll do, we'll cross to him in just a moment before we go right away. Perhaps we can, there was an interesting sound, there was a sound clip that we've got from the ANC chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, and what he said in many ways may sum up the dilemma, the conundrum, the challenge the ANC faces right now.
I know that we have a lot of singing councillors, but we have no councils. We all sing well, but capacity dololo. Yabona. No, mamela. Yabona mosika ungabona. No.
Oh, that's what the ANC chairperson is saying. What does the president say? Okay, we are just connecting to the president of the African National Congress addressing delegates. Here he is.
Our people. There is no place for complacency, therefore, and comrades, there's no place for laziness or arrogance. We need to patronage as well. Now, as fundamental problem that we must confront, let us be humble. Let us serve our people with humility. Let us serve them with the respect that they expect. They want us to respect them. And respecting them also means that we want to explain to them everything. There's no space for self-enrichment or patronage as well. A fundamental problem that we must confront is also the micromanagement by ANC structures of the affairs of municipalities, especially in areas such as the appointment of officials and contractors. Let us allow those who can do the work to do the work. I know it is tempting for us to hold on. Now this must end. And in the end, when people are freed, are given the opportunity to do what they do best, you'll find that the performance goes up. Our structures are responsible for ensuring councillors are deployed to municipalities and are held accountable for the provision of services to residents. The municipal administration must be able to appoint competent people who can implement the policies and programs of council without any undue political interference. And if they go wrong, if they do wrong things, we are all within our right to ensure that we deal with them and show them the door. That is the right that we have, but we must not obstruct them. Citizens are clear. We must move incompetent people out of the way. They want those who don't serve them well to be moved out. We must not protect individuals that are implicated in corrupt activity. We must encourage and enable the law enforcement agencies to act against people within our own ranks who break the law. We will appoint people based on proven competence, ethical standing, as Reverend Chikane was saying, and qualifications, not just party loyalty or factional alignment. We will rebuild trust by demonstrating that public office is used for public good, not personal gain. In this, every councillor, every cadre and structure has a specific role. Mayors and political committees must outline the key visible priorities. They must publicly track and report quarterly on progress against identified goals. Now, I shouldn't say I feel sorry for you for coming today, but I do, because you are now going to be each one expected to report on a quarterly basis. So now you've put your foot in it. We're going to expect you to report on what you are doing. Ward councillors must be highly visible and responsive in their wards. And if you want increased visibility, you can invite me to come, you can invite the national chair to come, you can invite the deputy president to come. We will give you high visibility. So I am ready and I'm available to come and increase your visibility in your ward. Wozalagim. They must also report all service delivery complaints. ANC branches must shift from being solely political meeting spaces to actively participating in community work, such as cleanup campaigns. We must bring up the Cleanup Friday, Letsema Friday. And sometimes when I've been out in Letsema Friday, I found that even some ward councillors are not there in the ward where I would be. So that must now change. We must all be actively involved in the lives of our wards. The caucuses, comrades, must prioritize service delivery in council debates. In other words, caucus agendas must have as a standing item what is happening with service delivery. In all ANC structures, yes, a standing item. You know, with the officials, with the NWC, with the NEC, we have standing items. And those items are electricity, they are water, and they are also logistics, to find out what is happening across the country, because we want to be fully informed. So you must also have standing items and be able to get reports continuously. And the ANC structures, there must be unity and purpose and discipline. And comrades, discipline is what defines a well-run organization. Where there is indiscipline, where people refuse to take or to abide by the decisions that have been taken, and even go to court to fight their own organization, that is a breakdown of discipline. Discipline must mean the ANC is bigger than one individual. The ANC is bigger than me. I know that, even as I'm president. I'm not bigger than the ANC, and I will always do what the ANC tells me to do. So that is what we should all be doing. And comrades, there should be no room for factionalism. There is room for different opinions. If you have different opinions, you have room for that. Because with different opinions, you can sit down and discuss and reach consensus. And those who don't agree, if the majority agrees, the democratic decision-making then takes place. But when it comes to factionalism, it is factionalism that has resulted in the trouble that we are having in Ditsobotla and in a number of other places. And comrades, factionalism is a treason against the African National Congress. Factionalism means that you don't want to be an ANC member where now you've chosen your own direction. We must be united in reality. These comrades are our marching orders to you as our councillors. As we receive them and as we go out to implement them, let us be guided by what was said in the eye of the needle. And we said, a leader should constantly seek to improve their capacity to serve the people. They should strive to be in touch with the people all the time. They must listen to their views and they must learn from them. They should be accessible and flexible and not arrogant to themselves or arrogate to themselves the status of being the source of wisdom. A leader should win the confidence of the people in their day-to-day work. Where the situation demands, they should be firm and have the courage to explain or seek to convince others of the correctness of the decisions taken by constitutional structures, even if such decisions are unpopular. They should not seek to gain cheap popularity by avoiding difficult issues, making false promises, or merely pandering to popular sentiment. We know what needs to be done, comrades. We know what is demanded of us. And today, at this very historic meeting, let us leave this historic gathering of the representatives of our people with the will and the determination to improve the way we work, and by so doing, improve the lives of our people and fundamentally transform our country. We all agree that our country is going through a number of challenges, both here and internationally. And comrades, what we need to do is to focus on how we are going to address those. We also have challenges internationally, particularly with the tariffs that the United States seeks to impose on us. Comrade Ngugai Toby, in speaking here about the impact of the tariffs on the job employment situation in the Eastern Cape, and indeed it will also affect Gauteng, and indeed it will also affect the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape as well. It requires that, yes, we should continue to engage. As it is now, we've got a team in the United States. Comrade Pakstow is joining that team. We're seeking to negotiate a deal, and I will be proceeding to the United States as well.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll rejoin that speech by the president of the ANC after this.
The Reds are confident they will secure victory on home soil.
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that
the president of the African National Congress, who is also the president of South Africa, but in that case, it's certainly the president of the ANC addressing members of the ANC or ANC councillors from around South Africa at this very important meeting for them as part of their preparations for next year's local government elections. We stopped just before the speech ended, where he said that with regard to tariffs, we'll be heading off to the USA. Park Stow is there talking to the Minister of Trade and Industry, and I will be joining them shortly. Right, let's get reaction with Ntebo Mokobo, the SABC News senior political reporter who's covering this significant event. Ntebo, I appreciate your time on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Thank you. Of course, we took parts of the speech live and others not. So perhaps let's start with that. If you can give us an overview of maybe some of the key points he made.
Well, I mean, the president has touched on a number of issues, Ashraf. He described this as a call to action, and he described this gathering as a turning point for the ANC to revitalize the local sphere of government. You will recall that, I mean, the local sphere of government is steeped by a number of challenges. And for him, this was an opportunity for the ANC, especially its councillors, to really go to the nut and bolt of what is hampering service delivery. The president cited a number of issues, for instance, the capacity and the capabilities of those who are deployed at this tier of government in municipalities. The president also bemoaned the fact that at some point, the ANC officials are the ones who are micromanaging those who are deployed in government, and thus rendering them useless and incapacitating them in terms of executing their responsibilities. The president also used the opportunity, Ashraf, to say all those who are incompetent should be shown the door, and those who are obstructionists, who are standing on their way of government officials who are deployed to execute government responsibilities and implementing government policies, they must also be putted out. So in a way, he unveiled this action plan that has got 6 pillars, where everything centered around rolling out or ensuring that service delivery it's rolled out, and ensuring that all the challenges that are faced at municipal level, especially of water, potholes, dysfunctional traffic lights, and affording infrastructure, all those must be addressed, and they can only be addressed by competent people. And he even said that it is not that the ANC doesn't have competent people at this local sphere of government. There are people, but the only problem is that at some point, the people who are deployed, there seems to be a sort of interference by some of the leaders in the ANC.
He also made the point about a quarterly report back, which I understand is unprecedented, right?
Yes, indeed. He mentioned that it can't be an open-ended sort of session. At some point, after 3 months, each and every councillor will have to sort of give a report back in terms of what he has done to implement the action plan. There has to be that sort of periodic reviews of the implementation of that action plan. And if there is nothing, then there has to be an intervention. The NEC, the REC, and the TEC have to intervene where job is not done.
You know, interesting. And then, of course, linked to that is he invited himself, as well as the deputy president and others, to say, if you need us to come to your wards, invite us for visibility. I mean, that's clearly a clear intention to understand the gravity of the ANC's chase for votes for the local government election, right?
Yes, in fact, I think the president understands that things are not, it's not business as usual. You will recall, Ashraf, that the ANC got 40% nationally. 40% that they got nationally in the 2024 elections. That started in the 2021 local government elections. Currently, the ANC is not governing. It's not the sole governor of the 3 modalities in Gauteng. It is governing. It's governing through coalitions and so on. It's not governed by the ANC. But that on its own, it's a worrying factor for the president, because if the ANC continues in the same trajectory, then it means in the 2026 local government elections, things would be worse than what they are today. So the president took this moment and this opportunity to sort of call everyone, make this rallying call that it can't be business as usual. People must go out. These councillors, these 4,900 councillors who are here today, they must go out on the ground and ensure that they have sort of a back to basic session with the people, with the making sure that they interact with their communities, understand what is really happening in their communities, and those issues or those challenges or faced by communities must be attended as speedily as possible, so that when the ANC goes to campaigning next year, it should be in a position to can say they have done 1, 2, 3 in terms of correcting the mistakes in those local municipalities. Otherwise, they will be judged by the failures that are glaring on the ground.
And just the last point, I mean, the fact that and I'm paraphrasing, he made the point about, public services has to be for public good, not for personal gain. I mean, A, how was that received? But B, the fact that he had to say that publicly with delegates around close to 5,000 people does suggest that there's a serious problem within the ANC leadership at grassroots level in terms of councillors, isn't it?
In fact, the president might have said that to local councillors, but it's not just at the local sphere of government where people seem to be serving themselves. Even actually, I've been seeing corruption allegations. So he ANC members, not just ANC members at a local sphere of government, when he says public service, it's for public good, it's not for self-service. So also tell him that there are a number of ANC people or ANC officials who are in government who are all about serving themselves, and that on its own has somewhat backfired, because the ANC is no longer enjoying the majority and the support and the love that it used to have.
And the question would be why.
In 1994.
And the question would be why. Maybe there's the answer anyway. Ntebo Mokoba, appreciate you giving off your time. SABC News senior political reporter covering the story of the ANC's coming together of all their local council delegates, ward councillors really, for just under 5,000 in fact, fighting to hold on to power in many ways, really. Let's get the news headlines. Here's Zondela Mbana.
She has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
This is SAFM Sports with Domin Khapele.
All right, it's like 2 days after the Boks had that incredible, it is 2 days, right? After that incredible victory on Saturday, and you just can't stop talking about it to me.
Absolutely.
Understandably so.
Yeah, a very good afternoon to you, Ashraf, and our listeners. Well, Springbok wing Cheslin Kolbe has praised the team's youthful backline for stepping up under pressure, saying that the newcomers proved they mean business on the international stage. The 43-10 win secured the Freedom Cup for a second consecutive year and marked South Africa's return as the world's number 1 ranked team.
Immensely proud. Obviously, when the team got announced with a young backline, me being one of the older guys at the back, I think it's just a lot of positive energy and guys that show they mean business and that they also want to play for a position in the team. And that's one thing about this squad, like whoever gets opportunity, we back them 100% and just make sure that whenever they go into big games like this, that they're confident and they're themselves. So yeah, a lot of credit to the coaches as well for feeding us with information and just making us as comfortable as possible throughout the week. What the young guys and the whole backline did tonight was unbelievable, and I think we just need to keep our feet on the ground and just continue to work. I think we can still rectify on a lot of opportunities out there and just be better as a team.
Meanwhile, Bok woman coach Swes de Bruin believes that a giant is awakened in South African women's rugby. This is after his side bound out of the Rugby World Cup in the quarterfinals, losing 17-46 to defending champions New Zealand.
And it's just unreal. I've never worked with I've been blessed 38 years in professional rugby. I've never worked with a team like this. It's just a bunch of fighters. I cry every day of proud, it's just unreal how they never moan. They just go. And they, that's just fantastic. They made, I think a giant is awakened in South African women's rugby. That's what I'm thinking. The way, Cindy, you and your ladies carried on, you made us proud.
Meanwhile, Netball South Africa have named their Proteas squad to tour New Zealand and Australia. They arrived in New Zealand yesterday, and coach Denny van Dijk says that the team is ready to go. In football, Kaizer Chiefs coach Nazruddin Nabi says that they're working on releasing some players on loan before the transfer window closes on the 22nd of September. Chiefs have signed 11 new players this season, boosting their attack and midfield in particular, and this has also led to an increase in their squad size.
Yes. Oui. Nous sommes ouverts à toute proposition pour des joueurs qui n'ont pas eu, qui sont.
Yes, it's true that the squad is big, and the technical staff and the management through the sporting director, Mr. Kaiser Jr. Club is working on options of to try to offload the squad, especially to give the possibility to some players that didn't have the consistency or didn't have enough time to get more time playing into other teams, and as well to some young players to get the experience needed in PSL into other clubs. Then everyone is aware of that and is working around the clock.
In athletics, American sprint star Noah Lyles says that he's not bothered by the color of the medal that he received at the World Senior Athletics Championship in Tokyo. This is after finishing third in the men's 100 meter. Jamaica's Oblique Seville won gold since the legendary Usain Bolt won. His compatriot Usain Thompson followed in 9.82 seconds for silver, while Lyles finished third, clocking 9.89 seconds. And he says that he is content and not worried about the medal color, insisting it does not define his character.
You got to put a smile on your face. Just because you're going through hard times doesn't mean that you can't smile. I was listening to a sermon once, and they said, happy is a verb. It's in the moment. Joyful is a state of being. I'm going to be joyful. No matter if I lost today, no matter if I won today, the color of the medal does not change the color of my character, and it doesn't change how life is going.
A lot of sport that happened this past weekend, some winning, some losing. It was quite unfortunate to not see Akani Simbini finishing in the top three, but hey, a couple of South Africans actually did try out their best this past weekend, and it was great seeing different teams winning and some not winning, like Man United.
Talking about Man United, can I add to this one? There's a fascinating tweet from Mbazima Shalawa. Now, you may remember him as the former premier of Gauteng province, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the Gautrain, when it was planned, it was nicknamed the Shalawa Express. So he tweeted, and he was talking about, the tweet was about, he was critical of Nomvula Mokonyane, being critical about Jacob Zuma, but that's really not the point I want to bring up. So I then tweeted him, Shalawa, saying, when are you getting back into formal politics in Mbazima? You seem ready. Okay. And his reply was, bigger chance of me playing for Manchester United. And then we said, I replied to say, well, United needs the way United are playing, they are in urgent need of the Shalawa Express. And then he said, a double whammy with Amakosi, right? And then a whole lot of other people saying they both need you badly. And he's saying, don't give me ideas, please. I thought it's just a quite funny thing. But he's a Man United fan. I think it is. And Kaizer Chiefs too. Yeah.
And interesting enough is that apparently the Man United bosses are still in support of Ruben Amorim.
Well, yeah. No comment. Until later. Thank you.
You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM. SAFM.
Right, more to come. By the way, reaction from the ANC meetup of its councillors, of its ward councillors. You can certainly react. In fact, think about this one as you do, right? Because the call from the president of the ANC is to the councillors. Now, they are still the biggest party. They're not the majority party in parliament, but they're the biggest party in the country. And when he talks about public service for public good and not for personal gain, the fact that he has to say that suggests what many of us are talking about a long time, that too much of it has been for personal gain. So I wonder, do you know of councillors? Can you name councillors, not just from the ANC, from any party, that those are ward councillors that just give them a thumbs up? You just love the way they've gone about their work, no matter who they may be, and their ethos is spot on. If so, give me names, wherever they are, from whichever political party they may be about, right? Let's pick up some voice notes and get some reaction on the conversations the ANC has been having. Here's one.
I think it's really senseless of Ramaphosa to think that they can just give the country a lick and a sweep and all will be well. For how long, for how many years have they not done the work? Whilst they are having a party today, all the other ministers are doing the work that the ANC never did over the years. So let us take note and just know that the ANC has failed. They need to go.
Okay.
Teresa.
No. Teresa, not giving them a chance to revitalize themselves as you would give a business, a political party, a movement of sorts, say, come on, you can't fight back.
Ashraf, hi, Roskin Pologwan. It's interesting the president is only addressing this issue now, or the ANC is addressing them now. We've been crying about service delivery for years and years. ANC didn't listen. Now that they're at 40%, they start to listen. Are you saying those councillors will leave that venue saying now that the president has spoken, we'll start doing things? Huh? They waited for the president to talk, to start doing things, to start delivering services. Really now? They will never do it. ANC is done, and they're not gonna change now. Thank you very much.
All right. Who's convinced by what the president of the ANC said today? I did make the point, and I'll repeat it. The fact that he said, to the councillors, public service has to be for public good, not for personal gain, is great. But the fact that he said it is also not great to the ANC councillors, because it suggests he needed to remind them of what is such an obvious thing. It is like as obvious as, Rassie Erasmus saying, If you kick a penalty for goal, it's 3 points, but if you score a try, it's 5, and you get a conversion, which is 7. So go for the try if you can. It's like it's so obvious, and yet they needed reminding.
Hi, Ashraf. I, as an ANC supporter and KZN voter, I'm disappointed, and as a ratepayer. The president will speak as if he is not part of the problem. The premiers, the mayors, and what now they're focusing only on councillors. They are part of this problem. We are in this mess because of them. And this thing of saying we will. Why didn't they not implement changes in 2016 when we lost metros, and subsequent to that in 2021? This is utter nonsense. And this thing of you saying significance, momentous, this is just glorifying with words. They are gaslighting us.
Okay, they are gaslighting us. So, are you an ANC supporter? And if you are, what do you make of the president of your party's address to the ward councillors, almost 5,000? And if you're not an ANC supporter, what do you make of the president of the ANC's address to the almost 5,000 ward councillors?
Mr. Ashraf, does it mean the ANC councillors were not reporting to anyone? I'm sure it's one of the reasons why our places are just run like this. That's why we don't have water. That's why our sewer system is just like this. Because you appoint someone to run our ward, and then yet he doesn't report to anyone. You know, it's funny how we have been letting ANC to fool us like this. Thank you.
Well, there we are. There's another interesting one. You see, the reference made where Ramaphosa said to the present ward councillors, like you hear, and I'm paraphrasing, like, you're in trouble now. And then saying from now on, you need to have a report back every quarterly. So as per that previous caller, it's interesting. Why would he say you have to report back every quarterly? He suggests what? That they're not reporting back up to now?
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and your crew and SFM listeners at large. I'm also fine here. Just want to find out with regards to the councillors. I mean, we know politicians, most of them have never had even qualifications. A typical person you think of is Mbazi Bashulu. I mean, even the union members, they don't even have those qualifications. I mean, what is the rationale? Are we talking about people who are competent, not necessarily being qualified, but who are willing to assist and to work with the people and the masses out there to render a very much good service to the country? For me, that's my thinking. I'll listen over the radio. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye, Ashraf.
Okay, there we are. You see, that issue of competence is important. I mean, qualifications and competence, but ultimately they must deliver. You at ward council level, you must deliver to the people, right? Let's get to a call, a Booty in Duet. Let's talk about the ANC.
Yes.
Right, go for it.
Hello.
Yeah, you're live on the National Pulse.
Hey, Ashraf, how are you?
I'm very good, man. I'm happy to hear your voice.
Ashraf, from the Eastern Cape. Look, I voted for the African National Congress as of 1994. I'm 55 now. I've never missed any vote. Always voting for the African National Congress. I'm trying to say to you, even if it can be 1%, I'll be part of that 1% that's going to vote for the African National Congress. Ashraf, we need to redirect ourselves. There were problems. There are still problems, and the president is trying very hard to make sure that things are getting back to its normality, back to the ANC that we know. I will assume that some of the people need to join branches. I'm not a member in good standing also. It's difficult to join ANC. I think I will need to write to the African National Congress and ask them, how do we join ANC? The last time I was a member in good standing, it was in 2002. So I'm saying to the people, ANC will do everything to satisfy all the institutions. So I won't be the one person who will say, point fingers. Who else is going to can govern better than the ANC? Ashraf, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, but how do you come to a conclusion to say, and I'm not suggesting you must vote for the ANC or you must not vote for the ANC, Booty, thank you for that call, but how do you sell that story to say, never mind the ANC has messed up on service delivery, because they have, even the president is saying so, over so many years, you must vote for them because nobody else can do a better job than you. I mean, that's like that's the height of arrogance, which is what I'm not suggesting that I have a choice of a better party, but I'm just making the point that how do you reach that conclusion to say you cannot give anybody else a chance to govern because we're the best. Even if we've messed up, we're still the best. So go for the best. For Yizwa in Parktown, hello.
Yeah, hello, Ashraf. Thanks for taking my call. I am a bona fide member of the African National Congress. I'm born in this movement. I'm a fourth generation or fifth generation from my ancestors because I belong to the Tembu royal family in Mandela. So the thing, I think I would like to applaud the president for what he did. Because in African culture, there is no wrong that cannot be solved, unless and until you are not an African. Things go wrong and people must sit down and fix them. We've been under this colonization, apartheid, slavery for over 400 years. They failed to actually do a thing for us. Instead, they abused us. They killed our ancestors. 30 years of corruption that they're talking about. The ANC is not doing it alone. I worked for government when I came back from the U.S. I started with DIG and then community safety. The classified information of the files, which was is called Public Works, but in the province is called the Department of Infrastructure. If you can see the money that they looted pre-94, and we are not talking, we're not stupid. I think the president is doing what he can do. It's only people should listen.
The people that listens has got to be the ward council.
You know what? Yeah. Our previous speaker, I said they can try and destroy the ANC. I can be the only one in the building of Luxury House and protect the ANC of Oliver Tambo, of Albert Luchuli, of Anton Dembeke, the ANC of Lillian Goy, the ANC. We can get
all right, I heard you. I heard you. So you saying you'll be with the ANC no matter what till the last breath. Okay? If I hear that correctly, Buyizwa. Thank you for that. Right, Sitembele in Flagstaff, go for it. Hello.
Thanks for taking my call, Ashraf.
Thank you.
So let me agree with Uvuiswa and the other speaker that spoke. That at the end of the day, we laughed at that movement, ANC. That is why we have been, continuing voting for them, even if things were not going well. And of course, I think the ANC is on the right track if it's self-correcting. Because if something is going wrong, it needs to be corrected. I think this is what they are doing right now. But for as long as the ANC, that's what I would like ANC to do. ANC must just do away with, Ashraf, imposing people with the ward councillors that do not have capacity to lead. People that are not wanted in communities, because I can tell you, Ashraf, 50% of those ward councillors that are sitting there in Soweto today, they are not the people that do represent genuinely.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it there because we need to get a spot break. But I hear what you're saying. They're not. Well, why are they there then in the first place? Think about it.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
is SAFM.
To hear you, right? Right, so let's just recap. The president of the African National Congress has spoken. He's spoken to delegates, ward councillors, close to 5,000 of them, ahead of the next year's local government election. It's a critical one. At national level, the ANC dropped alarmingly to 40%. Yes, national and local are not the same thing, but why would we think this could be very, very different this time around? They're in the fight for their lives. I mean, there's no question about it. They are in a fight for their lives. And the core of how the ANC garners support is at ward council level. And the questions that the president has addressed to the ward councillor, in fact, saying public services should be for public good, not for personal gain. There's a huge drive from the ANC who understanding that they've got to, what's the word? Pull up their socks. But is that enough? KG in Bloemfontein, hello.
That is nowhere near enough, honestly. And I just want to confirm that these slogans of saying the ANC of Oliver Tambo, 400 of colonialism, etc., 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 unfortunately, saying those things does not make water come out of the depths of the people who are busy protesting in Johannesburg currently. And two, for me, I find it rather extremely scary and frightening that we have to have this meeting where people are allegedly given marching orders. I would have expected those marching orders to have been given the previous local government elections. But this whole exercise informs me personally is the fact that honestly speaking, these people do not have a plan. They are not serious. They've got no idea what they are doing. Otherwise, they will not have every so ad hoc. There's a summit, there's an NET meeting, there's this, that, and the other. So the sooner the next elections, the 2029 can come in, I think the better.
Okay, got that. Another disgruntled person, well, not disgruntled, I should say, but saying it the way he sees it regarding the ANC. I mean, making the point about not invoking the names of Oliver Tambo because they don't make water come out of taps. How telling is that? Tsokolo in Harry Smith. Go for it. Let's talk about the ANC. Tsokolo, you're live. Hello? No? Maybe we've just lost Tsokolo just for a moment. Right, there's more to come from you. Tsokolo, you're live on the National Pulse. Go for it. Hello. Yeah, you're live. Hello.
Yes, Alpha. How are you, man?
Yeah, indeed. I'm good. Go for it.
Hello?
I said you're live. What's your point?
Yeah, no. You know what?
Sure. Listen, your line's so bad. Let's see if you can call back. We want to hear what you have to say, but we just can't take the call right now. It's just so bad. Let's see if we can pick up some WhatsApp comments. In the meantime, there are many of the people commenting. South Africa must continue to vote ANC. The will be like Zimbabwe. I'm not too sure what you mean. That means if they continue to vote for the ANC, they will be like Zimbabwe, or they must continue to vote for the ANC, or we will be like Zimbabwe. Please clarify what exactly do you mean. Right, we'll take more calls just now. But I tell you what, as we all try and develop our personal careers, one thing is what happens at a national level. The other is what about you? What about the China SA Scholarship collaboration? Are you interested in that? You should be, right after this.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, let's find out about this collaboration between the South African Sector Education and Training Authorities, the SETAs, of course, such as the LG SETA, and the Chinese Culture and International Education Exchange Center, the CCIEEC. It's all about collaboration and a scholarship program that should interest you. Inileng Moletti is the CEO of the Local Government Sector Education and Training Authority. Much appreciate your time. You're the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I just read about this and I see opportunity. Tell me, what's the opportunity?
Thank you very much. This is an opportunity for young South Africans between ages of 18 to 25, those who have matriculated before 2024, who've been sitting at home, not having access to universities, not having access to public TVETs, not having access to any type of funding where they can access the higher echelons of post-schooling. And we came as local government SETA and insurance SETA working together with Chinese culture just to make sure that we collaborate with about 13 universities in the Republic of China, where we look at various fields in the engineering, IT, science, and technology. And our approach is just to make sure that we can bring hope to those that are hopeless and make sure that they can make a meaningful contribution to their lives so that after 3 years, 4 years, they can come back or even stay in the Republic of China and compete anywhere in the world with competent qualifications that can withstand the test of time and also that can be competitive in the broader world stage.
Okay, so give me some practicalities about, offering hope for those who are hopeless at the moment. Give me the practical of what they can do, what they should do.
Our scholarship entails studying, opportunity to study in China. We pay for accommodation, we pay for return flights at least once a year. We also ensure that there's a stipend that they get. We also ensure that they study in the People's Republic of China. We offer pre and post psycho-social support because you know that culturally they will have to adapt with the Chinese culture. And the hope, obviously, we are envisaging that when they come back, they will come back as better citizens, they will come back as better international citizens, they will come back maybe having solutions to a myriad of challenges that you are having on the local government. Peter, I was listening on the last 10 minutes, your conversation with your listeners around the challenges that are plaguing our local government sector.
Well, absolutely. Okay, just in the time we have left, give me a contact website or address that I can direct people to.
They can reach us at info@lgseta.org.za, and then on Instagram is @lgseta official, X also lgseta official, and Facebook @lgseta official.
Okay, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to encourage you as well to tweet us, wherever you are on social media, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. Just tag SFM Radio, tag me, Ashraf Garda, and we certainly can post some of the links that you've suggested that people should look out for. So thank you so much for your time. I agree with you. This opens up opportunity, and don't we want that for the people of our country? So thanks for your time. Much appreciated. That's Inilang Molete, the CEO of the Local Government Sector Education and Training Authority, so the LG SETA, as you've just heard. Right, what's up in the news? Here's Ondela.
This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a back.
CBC shrugs off early season criticism after MTN 8 won. More details at 4:30.
SAFM. Guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Track like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
Will take part in the Netball World Youth Cup 2025 in Gibraltar from the 19th to the 28th of September. So it's imminent, right? Now, these are our rising stars. Hashtag Together We Rise, brought to you by the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Well, we all know about the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that should start on Wednesday, right? But not according to the MK party, not if they have their way. They've issued a statement today stating that the party will challenge the legality of the Madlanga Commission, that commission, into issues of compromise around state security, really. And they're going to challenge that in the Gauteng High Court on Thursday, which I know is the day after the original opening day. So what is their issue? What's the rationale behind this challenge? With me is the MK Party spokesperson, Ndlamulo Ndlela. Appreciate your time as always here on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and good to your listeners.
Thank you. Right, I'm looking at your statement and I'm quoting, the MK Party unequivocally rejects the reckless and unlawful decision of the so-called Madlanga Commission to commence hearings on Wednesday the 17th of September, despite the fact that its very legality, establishment and composition are scheduled to be challenged before a full bench of the Pretoria High Court on Thursday the 18th, and then saying why the rush. Let's deal with that issue of its very legality, establishment and composition are being challenged. Clearly you challenge it. Tell me more.
Yes, Ashraf, as you recall, we took this matter to the Constitutional Court after the President's announcement. That was then, kicked out of that court because of the issue of jurisdiction. We then wrote to the President requesting him to respond to the demands, and he then basically said, look, you can, as per the Constitutional Court, go to the High Court and challenge it there. But we are raising the issue of, the President went and made an announcement off the back of allegations to establish a judicial commission of inquiry. So that is one of the elements that we were concerned about and raised, and quite honestly, we are expressing not just MK's views, but these are the views of most South Africans as to why do you need a judicial commission of inquiry, where you're going to have an acting judge effectively decide over matters that could implicate his peers. So we're saying that can't be constitutional, it's unconstitutional. Even the process that he followed in terms of appointing the acting minister, in this case Feroz Kachalia, at one point we recall actually asking the question, is he minister, is he minister designate, is he acting minister, what is he? So these are some of the issues that we're raising, but more so, we have always had, as per our position and our posture, that there is no need for a judicial commission of inquiry. There's an ad hoc committee in Parliament that is going to be presided over by lawmakers. And we're saying that let also the police, the men and women in blue, do their work as they have been doing so effectively. And by having a judicial commission of inquiry, more than anything else, is interfering in police work. And that should not be allowed, because we can see that these judicial commissions or these commissions of inquiry just yield nothing else but recommendations that have no tangible outcomes, and no one's ever held accountable, including the president when it came to the Section 89 report on Phala Phala.
And I think, the recommendations they are simply that recommendations. That's also been reiterated, if we did not know, by the chair of the commission anyway, right? So, that's not even up for debate. We know that, right? Having said that, there are many people who believe that these commissions are important, but we can debate the merits or demerits of it all. There's one thing voicing your opposition to it. The other is actually pursuing a legal challenge. Why do you think it's necessary to pursue it legally? And very importantly for you, how do you think you're going to win this case? Because, ultimately, that's what you want.
Well, first, let me just start and say, we cannot be nonchalant on the basis that, it's a commission of inquiry, so therefore the recommendations are, as we know, will not be binding. There's 147 million rand that's going to be pumped into this of taxpayers' money. Again, another waste of money. And we don't even know how much longer this is going to continue. This could end up being into billions, as we've seen with the so-called Zondo Commission. So that we cannot take lightly. The issue of working within the confinements of the law, we're a law-abiding party. Obviously, we've raised certain issues pertaining to the Constitution itself, but this is where we find ourselves. We have to work within the framework of this Constitution and the judiciary, which we've also raised concerns that they themselves, by virtue of them implicated, are not necessarily the right platform. And let's be honest, the judiciary in this country has lost a lot of trust, public trust, and that's starting to emanate more so with the judges that you're finding implicated, asking for bribes and being complicit in corruption. And this is the state of the country that we find ourselves in. So we have to work within the confinements of this. But of course, MK, which is what we are wanting to ensure or we expose to the public, is that when come the local government elections, come 2029 elections, they should vote for MK, because it would have been MK that would opened up the eyes of South Africans to the corruption. And quite honestly, the fact that this country's leadership is totally dislodged from our citizens.
Okay, you made the point as well about your opposition to the appointment of the retired judge Mbuyiseli Madlanga Wright himself. Tell me why.
Well, we stated categorically that the announcement by and raised allegations by Mkhwanazi stated that the judiciary itself is complicit, and that judges themselves are complicit in the criminality and the corruption that we find ourselves in. So you can't have, and this is what we're raising concerns about, you can't have a judge presiding over a judicial commission of inquiry when the judiciary itself has been implicated. And now you have a situation where the president is calling upon, a judge over matters that could potentially have an impact. And it's a fact they do have an impact, because it's issues that have been raised on his own peers. So there's a serious conflict of interest there. And let's not forget, judges too vote. Judges are human beings. And judges, by virtue of that, are also open to being swayed in.
Yeah, you're still there. We may have just lost.
You can't, and there's no need for a judicial commission of inquiry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just lost you for a second, but I think I heard you say no need for a judicial commission of inquiry. Just continue on that part, yeah?
Yes, there's no need for a judicial commission of inquiry when the police are doing a very good job at arresting these people and investigating these matters. Why the need for a judicial commission of inquiry in the first place? There's no need for that.
What about those who may say it's precisely... Yeah. Sorry, I was saying, what about those that say it's precisely because the police are not doing a very good job? That's why a need for an inquiry, and there's just tons of examples like that.
Well, if the police are not doing a good job, there wouldn't be a commission of inquiry in the first place. The commission of inquiry is just a reactionary, knee-jerk, response to what the have exposed. So let them continue to do the work that they're doing, even after that announcement, to demonstrate the legitimacy of the work that the police are doing. There's been arrests. So why not allow the police to continue to work on and ensure that they arrest those people that are implicated in this.
Okay.
What we're saying is that what we're seeing it as, it's becoming a political laundromat.
All right. So as it stands
To
on
understand
Wednesday,
exactly what's happening in those cases.
okay, as it stands on Wednesday, of course, that Judicial Commission will kick off, but then there's that objection coming up on Thursday. Where do you think this is likely to end?
Look, I mean, it's an issue where we're saying that again. You can tell that it's quite calculated. They were supposed to start, even though we've said that we oppose it, on the 1st of September. They didn't start then. But if you look at it, it's clearly like a deliberate, attempt in this case, in response to the fact that we're given the 18th and the 19th for our case heard by a full bench of 3 judges, that they the day before. The 18th. So again, that alone is telling. It's not just by mere coincidence. You can tell that this is well orchestrated.
But what difference would it make?
Outcome.
But what difference would it make? Let's assume that they do start on the Wednesday and you have the hearing on the Thursday, and the hearing rules in your favor over a period of time. Does it make any difference?
Well, I can ask the same question and say, what's the rush? What difference will it make if they start on Monday?
Okay, I hear you. Just the last thing then, in terms of the ad hoc committee in Parliament that you spoke about earlier, why are you so convinced that they would do a better job? Because if we're saying so many people, and as you said, judges are judges, they're human beings, wouldn't the same apply to, members of Parliament, officials who would be sitting on certain committees? They would maybe well be objective, but they are human beings too.
Well, our posture has always been that first and foremost, allow the police to do their work, because we know that parliamentarians themselves are implicated. One of the issues that we've raised is even the parliamentarians, we need to find a way or a mechanism, quite honestly, as this process unfolds, to ensure those that are implicated as members of parliament do not preside over this. So we as MK Party are going to ensure that that is also brought forward, and that it will obviously unravel as and when we're engaging with the witnesses, in this case from the police. So it's not to say that we're saying that the ad hoc committee in this case is totally sanitized, but we're saying we as lawmakers, it's important that we preside over that, but at the same time we need to caution, we need to err on the side of caution, and let's ensure that those that participate are not those that are implicated, and as per the allegations made by Khwanazi.
Let's see what happens on Wednesday. Let's see what happens on Thursday and beyond. Ntlamulo Ndlela, the MK Party spokesperson, appreciate your time here on the National Pulse. And let me put that to you as the audience. What do you make of that? What do you make of the MK's position and their argument as to why this entire commission must be effectively stopped shut and referred back to an ad hoc committee within Parliament to do the work of those allegations made by certain members of the police force or the police service, and then let the police themselves do the work? There's no need for a judicial commission of inquiry. Yay or nay to that? You are so connected here to the National Pulse.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality
We're proud, in fact, to partner with Africa's biggest marketing conference. It's called the Nedbank IMC, and this conference happens on the 18th of September in person in Johannesburg, or you have the option to join in online. How do you do so? Book now at imcconference.com, imcconference.com. And the theme of the conference is Marketing is Business. So think about it. If it talks to you, you should be there. Marketing is business.
You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM.
Well, what about the business of education, right? The Higher Education and Training Minister Buti Manamela says the department is working to ensure that the 2026 academic year, next year, begins fairly, on time, and without unnecessary barriers. The minister was speaking in Pretoria today and said readiness was not ticking boxes or filing reports, but about the lived experience of every student and family in South Africa. Interesting enough, what he said then, it resonates with what the president of the ANC has said to the ward councillors about service delivery. I'm just making that point. Anyway, he then spoke about a few things that are really important, and we picked out some highlights. Firstly, he spoke about the 13 billion rand reprioritized to support students,
while setting in motion a sustainable funding model for the financial aid scheme. As such, you would be pleased to know that we've developed funding mechanisms to address the substantial shortfall experienced in the 2025 academic year by reprioritizing funds within the existing resource base of 13.3 billion to support 34,000 students with blocked registration and second semester registration of 15,000 students. Many of these are students at UNISA. NSFAS will issue a circular today to open the registration portal. Student accommodation providers who were impacted by the above will also be in a position to now receive payment for services rendered. This marks a significant moment in the stabilization of NSFAS for the 2025 academic year. However, the scheme is still at financial risk due to an increasing number of students qualifying for post-school education and training funding, and secondly, the escalating cost of living, which has expanded the eligibility criteria, and thirdly, the declining state resources in real terms.
Okay, there's more, of course. The Minister of Higher Education then spoke about, well, listen to this, how many students can the system absorb?
Reality is that today, as I'm speaking to you, 815,000 young people will be sitting for examination. We can only guarantee that if all of them pass 850,000, we can only guarantee that the system will only absorb half of those. Between now and the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to be looking for solutions for the rest of the other young people. Yes, some of them will go look for jobs. Some of them will, take a joyride and take a a gap year, and so on and so forth. But we have to plan for those people, and that's the big question that I think, in a month or two when we come back, we will have to, to answer that. Reality is that.
Okay, the other is the Minister, Buti Manamela, then announced the establishment of a war room to deal with the specific challenges of NSFAS for next year.
To ensure that the system remains stable and responsive, we will establish a war room for the 2026 academic year. This war room brings together the leadership of the department, NSFAS, universities, TVET and CT colleges, student formations, and also quality councils in one place, meeting weekly to resolve challenges as they arise. Its purpose is not more meetings, but rapid decision-making, problem-solving, and clear communication with our stakeholders. Through the war room, we will tackle outstanding issues head-on, from the timely payment of NSFAS allowances to the accreditation of student accommodation, the finalization of examination certificates, and the resolution of disputes that can otherwise disrupt teaching and learning. It will also function as an early warning system so that potential triggers of protest or disruption are identified and addressed before they scale up. Yesterday, when I was meeting with the vice chancellors and the student leadership, I said to them that strikes and bouncers must be the last resort on our campuses next year.
Right, so, okay, then here's another to consider. What about the service providers?
We'll issue a circular today to open the registration portal. Student accommodation providers who were impacted by the above will also be in a position to now receive payment for services rendered. This marks a significant moment in the stabilization of NSFAS for the 2025 academic year. However, the scheme is still at financial risk due to an increasing number of students qualifying for post-school education and training funding, and secondly, the escalating cost of living, which has expanded the eligibility criteria, and thirdly, the declining state resources in real terms. We will later in the year announce steps towards sustainable funding reforms for the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. Tomorrow, at the University of Pretoria, we will officially launch the 2026 NSFAS application process. This is the gateway through which hundreds of thousands of young people, especially from working class and poor households, will be able to realize their dreams of studying at a university or TVET colleges. NSFAS remains one of the largest instruments of social justice in post-apartheid South Africa. Currently, about 1 million students each year, just above 900,000 students each year. The process for 2026 has been simplified and strengthened. Applications will be done through My NSFAS portal, which is accessible via any internet-enabled device. Students will be able to track their applications online, upload supporting documents, and receive real-time updates.
Okay. Sounds all very good, and let's hope that would be the case. I'm being confident and positive, and that's what we really want. Right, reaction on that, reaction on the chat from the MK spokesperson about the challenge to the Commission of Inquiry, reaction around the ANC, and everything else we've spoken about today. Feel free and go ahead. 4:30, here's the news headlines with Ondela.
Thank you, Ashraf, on this.
That private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This with Tuming Khapele.
Chumi, I know you're going to start talking about the Proteas, but I can't ignore the fact that you're wearing a Orlando Pirates top today.
Because
is this part of your rotation where you go Pirate Chiefs, Sundowns, everybody else, or is this a specific reason?
No,
why?
it's more about celebrating the team that did well on the weekend, and Pirates was one of those teams that did well.
So you don't feel sorry for Stellenbosch then? No.
No, guys, we're not talking about feeling sorry or not. I'm just saying let's celebrate teams that are doing.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's start things off with cricket this hour, where Proteas woman coach Mandla Mashimbi has highlighted the crucial role their tour of Pakistan will play in their preparations for the ICC Women's World Cup. South Africa are currently in the subcontinent and will face the Pakistani in a 3 one-day international series starting tomorrow in what will be their first competitive bit of action since playing the West Indies in July.
Yeah, I think the Pakistan one is very important in terms of us trying to create some momentum into the World Cup, and also just discovering that last bit of confidence that we need to make sure that every player from an individual point of view know where their game is at, and they're happy with where their game is at. There's no lose-lose situation there. You're always going to win when you go to these type of tours before a big tour, because if you're not on, you will need to know what you need to do to be on when you get to the World Cup. If you are on, you'll need to know what you must carry on to the World Cup as well. So it's a win-win for us. So now, for me, it's a very important tool for us to just gauge where we're at as a team.
Meanwhile, Pakistan head coach Mike Hassan says that they're disappointed by India's decision not to shake hands. This is after yesterday's politically charged Asia Cup match between the bitter neighbours. India won the Group A encounter by 7 wickets in the first cricket match between the sides since a 4-day military conflict between the nuclear-armed neighbours in May. While the match itself passed without incident, there was no shaking of hands between the captains at the toss or amongst the players at the end. In football, Orlando Pirates captain Nkosinathi Sibisi says that the MTN 8 win proves that the team was always on the right track. This is despite a sluggish start in the Betway Premiership. The Buccaneers swept aside Stellenbosch FC 3-0. Earlier this season, a section of the club's supporters had called for coach Abdeslam Wadu's dismissal. This is after back-to-back league defeats. However, Sibisi says that those were only minor setbacks, pointing to the team's strong resurgence.
Look, whenever there's change, there's doubt, and uncertainty. So for us, we knew what we were capable of doing, and I think we proved it when we were in Spain. It was a matter of a hiccup, a slow start in the league, but we know what we can do. With the quality that we have, there's no ways that we shouldn't be dreaming, of lifting every trophy, and what better way to start off with the NTN 8 trophy.
Meanwhile, Magezi FC coach John Maduka insists that his side are just one win away from turning their fortunes around. This is despite enduring a 6-match winless streak in the Betway Premiership. Dikwena Tsamedzi slumped to their 3rd defeat of the campaign with a 3-0 loss to champions Mamelodi Sundowns at Lucas Moripe Stadium, a match in which they were reduced to 10 men. This is after Samuel Devore's red card on the stroke of half-time. While acknowledging the seriousness of their situation, Maduka remained optimistic that a single victory could spark a revival in form.
It's always worrying because especially we know that the games, there's so many of them, like I mentioned earlier, there's so many of them that we could have done so much better, whereby we were in control of the game, we had created so many scoring opportunities, but we didn't score. But we know that it's what we patiently saw. We just need one. We need one. I'm sure you will see a different Magesi, the team that will play, with so many confidence. As much as, we haven't won any game, but these boys, they've been doing well, creating those areas, being in those good areas where they can give opposition problems. So it's a positive, it's something that is positive. We just need that one. And once we get that one, you will see totally different. And we strongly believe that we're going to win many games.
Elsewhere, Arsenal will start their bid for Champions League glory against Athletic Bilbao tomorrow night. Mikel Arteta's side reached the semi-finals of Europe's top competition for the first time since 2009 last season, before losing to eventual winners Paris Saint-Germain. And with Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus all sidelined by injury in the opening weeks of the new campaign, Arteta says now it's over to the new signings and see how they will do to help the side do well in the Champions League. In golf, for world number one, Scottie Scheffler powered to victory in the US PGA Tour Pro Championship, grabbing his 6th title of the year and sounding a Ryder Cup warning to Europe. 4-time major winner Scheffler fired a 5-under par 67 to surge past US Ryder Cup teammate Ben Griffin for the victory with a 19-under par total of 269. For now, though, I am going to say goodbye, but before that, so this past weekend I went to East London because I was working on the Hollywood Bed Super League, women's football in the country, and my goodness, I was impressed by the attendance. We went to the University of Fort Hare. Like, it's a small stadium, small stands, but remember how back in the days when stadiums were small,
Atmosphere is great.
somehow fans found ways to watch the game, whether it's climbing the tree, whether it's literally sitting on top of their cars. That is actually the picture that we had yesterday. But for me, I think I found it very nice, the fact that a lot of them were supporting women's football, and most of them were guys.
Fabulous. That's great.
I was just
Wonderful,
like, man,
wonderful.
oh man, can we just have this all over the country?
Well, can we do so? And by the way, just a quick can we? I wonder how many fans will get to Old Trafford this weekend to watch Man United play Chelsea. I mean, here's the point. That they did a study of Man United since Ruben Amorim took over from last year, November, to now. And they kicked out the 6 teams that 3 teams played in last season. They're now relegated, so you don't count them. And 3 teams are promoted, so you don't count them. That means the 17 teams that have played in the Premier League since November. On that basis, the team that got the worst record of the lot, number 17, is Manchester United.
Are you surprised?
It is, well, I'm surprised that they're still talking up the team. There's something drastically wrong with that team. Some critics will say, that's like the ANC, you see? They're talking about getting things right at branch level, but there's so much wrong. I mean, that's the point.
But I think it's the personnel versus the system. I don't think the system is the problem. It's the personnel that needs somehow a miracle to happen.
But if the system doesn't work, you change the system to adapt to the personnel that can deliver. You know, like if you've got a fast bowler in the team who can bounce the ball, you can't say, can you please bowl spin for me, because that's my system.
I get you.
You change. Rassie Erasmus is brilliant at changing systems. Last week, he had a more defensive team. This one, they said either he'll get a hiding or they're going to overrun the All Blacks. They overran. The system is far more attacking. He experiments every single day. I would say Rassie for Manchester United coach, really.
This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance.
And Patlele from Makwe Fund Managers. You've got news about OUTsurance first up. Botswana, do I have you there?
As you think about that, or a sobering.
No, we're trying to reconnect. Let's see if we can do that. Let me try once again. Paswana Impatlele from Makwe Fund Managers. Do I have you there? If not, we're going to move on. No, wait.
Hello.
Yeah, Paswana,
Yes,
do I have you there?
Hello.
Do I have you there? Yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, go for it. You want to start with outsurance numbers, right?
Yeah, OUTsurance, Ashraf, they give us the good year results reflected in their robust earning growth, up 34%. Not only the earnings coming from investment growth, but also reflecting operational improvement, where they saw lower claims, premiums have been rising, cost disciplines, and this type, and seeing the likes of life insurance getting attraction is helping the stronger profit levels. And they are diversified in terms of South Africa and the likes of Australia are doing well, helping to offset the likes of Ireland. So the guys are sitting on organic growth. They issued out a special dividends from their sales, and the investors are happy. Stock is up 7%. When we look at the local and international developments here, we're looking at the likes of Chinese data, the industrial output and retail sales, they all grew, but at a disappointing rate. It's showing a reflection of easing in momentum and the need for the Chinese government to stimulus. And it's not the only country that needs stimulus. In the US, the Trump is looking for a big cut, but markets are looking for a cut. And currently it's priced in that later on in the week, we should get that cut. And this supports the risky assets of buying. Locally, the likes of Moody has said South Africa is caught in a debt trap at the back of higher borrowing costs, and it's not a challenge of deep financial systems, but a challenge of policy credibility that the government needs to work on in terms of implementing policy. Our inflation expectations from household developments has eased, reflecting that the central bank is being credible and continuing to do its job. When we look at the likes of how markets are pricing assets, we look at gold that is up 0.4, $3,658 an ounce, oil up 0.2 at $67.60 a barrel, Bitcoin is getting a bid at $114,000. When we look at the likes of the US indices, they are up on those rate cuts expectations. Dow up 0.2, Nasdaq up 0.6, S&P 0.5. We look at JSE locally, we are flat as we've seen support from industrials up 0.4. Our resource and financial sector has pulled us down 0.3. On the currency space, we're at healthy levels, sitting at 17.35 against the dollar, 20.40 against the euro, and 23.60 against the pound.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. Baswane will connect again tomorrow, and don't forget Jimmy Muyaha. Not Jimmy. Today it's Dudu Ramela will take over for the show from Jimmy. He's away. 6 to 7, a full hour of the markets coming up then.
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just...
We're going to get another reaction regarding the ANC's councillor roll call, if I can call it that, standing to account for how they do their job. That comes up later on. But for now, 3 suspects in the Phala Phala farm robbery case are back at the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo, and 3 are accused of robbing President Cyril Ramaphosa's property in 2020, and that, as you know, has sparked off a national debate that is not going to subside anytime soon. So what happened today? Here's Pimani Baloyi, the SABC News reporter in the Limpopo region. Appreciate your time here on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and good afternoon to our listeners.
Thank you so much. Right. So what happened today?
Ashraf, today was actually day 1 of that trial where we saw the 3 accused actually being asked to tender their pleas, and all 3 told court that they plead not guilty to all the charges. We do know that all 3 face charges relating to conspiring to break into the president's farm and is stealing US dollars to the value of $580,000 US dollars, which at the time was converted into around 10 million rands. So, Ashraf, it was just day one where the first thing that the magistrate wanted to deal with was the media application. You do know this has garnered a lot of media interest. This is the president's farm and everybody's interested. And there was a lot of media houses in court. So initially, the magistrate, when we first applied about 2 months ago, when this trial was set to start but was postponed to today due to the pregnancy of one of the accused, the magistrate said he's granting media access to working in court, but he would have to discuss whether we would be able to identify the witnesses that would be called in. And today, both the state and the defense were given an opportunity to argue why witnesses should be shown or not shown. The state stating that some of the witnesses feared that their businesses would be negatively affected if they are seen to be associated with this case, stating that some of the people are business people who transported the accused or some of the accused when they were leaving Villa Villa back to Gauteng and also to Cape Town. Others saying there are people who the accused purchased property from, fearing that if they are identified and they are associated with this, their businesses could suffer. But the defense stating that the accused have been shown all over the media house, all over media platforms. Why should the witnesses be the only ones that are said to be prejudiced by being shown on this case? But ultimately, the magistrate Peter Mantata ruled that the defense had an opportunity to present this when the media application was brought into court initially, and they never objected. So he ruled that we cannot identify any of the witnesses, but we can definitely record their testimonies and we can actually broadcast them. So we saw the first two state witnesses being called to the stand, Ashraf. The first one was a former manager at the farm at the time of the robbery, who spoke about how, number one, which was very interesting, he's actually the one who made that purchase where he got $580,000 US dollars from a businessman. He says this was in exchange for 20 buffaloes, 17 that he say was female and 3 were male. So he says he got these US dollars, and he says at that time the reason he kept them, when after the purchase he kept them in a safe, but he felt the safe was accessed by everyone. And when he wanted to go off on leave, it was December at the time, when he went on leave, he decided, no, the safe will be accessed by everyone and I don't know what will happen to the money. He took the money and stuffed it in a sofa, which he says this sofa is in the main house, which has the president's bedroom. And the specific bedroom where this sofa is located is said to be a spare room, which is used by the president's daughter when she comes for visits. So he said at the time he felt it was the safest place because it has cameras throughout that house, and he knew that no one else would access that house. He says he went away for a few days. When he came back and found the dollars still intact. But a few days later, he says he was told that one of the windows to that room had been broken into. That's when he feared that there was a robbery and that money was taken. But the other interesting thing that he said, Ashraf, is that, he says he was also in communication with the president. Number one, when he got the money, he says the general manager was not on duty at the time, and he communicated with the president that, I have this money, I don't know where to keep it, and the president said, no, let's keep it there for now, in the safe for now, we'll discuss it when the general manager comes back. But also he says when the theft happened, he now communicated with the general manager, and he did not tell the general manager that the money is no longer there, hoping that the president would have told him that there was all of this. So that's the state's first key witness. But the defense we've seen during cross-examination stating that they don't understand why he would say the accused are linked to this, because they could not be linked. They didn't know that there was money. They didn't have access to the rooms. So it's been quite interesting, Ashraf. And then we saw the second state witness, who also worked as a domestic worker alongside one of the accused, who was a temporary domestic worker. So shared cross-examination is still continuing, but her testimony is just around how she had access to that room, how she was the person who cleaned that room that belonged to the president's daughter.
Okay, so today's day one. What happens next? What happens tomorrow?
Ashraf, this is quite strange how the scheduling around this trial. Tomorrow they are taking a break. The prosecutor is not available to continue the trial. But on Wednesday it is resuming. So when it resumes on Wednesday, we expect further cross-examination of the state's second witness and a continuation. We know that the state says they've scheduled about 22 witnesses to testify here. And we've seen Magistrate Mantata saying he wants to get this over and done with. He's even called for the accused, Mr. Emanuela David, who has been labeled as one of the masterminds behind this theft, to be moved from the Kgosi Mampuru to a place closer to Modimolle so that he doesn't have to wait in the morning for when authorities say they're still transporting the accused. So he stated that on Wednesday, 9 a.m., he wants to start this trial. And today, Ashraf, as day one, actually, testimony and the court proceedings only ended at around 4:30, with the magistrate stating that he really wants to get this trial to run as smoothly and as quickly as possible.
Okay, let's leave it at that. We'll see what happens, as you said, not tomorrow, but on Wednesday. Pimani Baloyi, the SABC News reporter, covering that story, the Phala Phala story on the National Pulse.
SAFM supports
thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So,
of course, because you're on the pulse, I need to hear what you have to say. So, go for it. Tell me what you think. What is it that you want to raise here? I want to pick out some of your WhatsApp comments, and there are clearly many. Here's one on the roll call. In fact, before we get to the roll call, Temba in Mbombela. Go for it, Temba. Hi.
Hi. I have 2 points. One, I think the media, I'm just worried in terms of the narrative.
Yeah.
They're not putting the MPs who were present at Mkhwana's presentation in March on the spot in terms of what they did after that. Because suddenly there's a hullabaloo when he made that press conference to the public. So there should have been something from that point. So I don't know anybody, even the MKP people that came on now, I don't hear any questions to them to say were they there, what did they say about that presentation to start off.
But I mean, which when you say which MP of the ANC, just be clear, what do you mean?
No, I'm saying the MPs that were present when Mkhwanazi made the parliamentary presentation, because
I understand. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the media is not picking up on that, so that all the MPs must actually account to say why did they not react. Now they're reacting after the open press conference. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I hear you.
And the second point is about the challenge to the Mandanga Commission. I'm a South African skeptic in terms of their motives, because most of the guys that are on top in the MKP, if you can judge, are implicated in the Zondo Commission. And Zondo was very unhappy about the movement of those cases. And suddenly we know that Shamila Patel was complaining about the NCP not processing some of these cases. And now the head in Gauteng has been suspended. So I think you can use, connecting the dots there, that they are feeling scared. That's what could come up from
Connect the dots. Okay, thanks for that, Temba in Mbombela. We go to KZN now. Vusi, you live. Go for it. Hello. Vusi.
Hello,
yeah, how's it, Vusi?
Sorry, man, I'm not Vusi. Can I remain anonymous?
Oh, I see. Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm worried sick. I was listening to this Phala Phala case. My main concern regarding the Phala Phala thing, I wish we could hear from the Concord regarding the Phala Phala. I know they are separate court processes. But it's been long since we're waiting for that deliberation. I don't know why is it taking long, so that we'll get to know. Because for me, to know, it's important, it's urgent. We need to know, like what happened. You remember the Hawk? It took more than, I don't know how many years it took for the Hawks to come up with something. Now the Concord, they're saying nothing regarding this.
Okay, so your point, I mean, what's the point that you're actually driving home at the end of the day?
I wish these people, they come out with the verdict. You remember the EFF and the other political parties, they took this matter to Concord. But Concord, they're not coming out. They're not saying anything now.
Okay.
It's taking long.
All right, got that. Thank you for that, Anonymous. We go to another Anonymous. Lots of anonymous people. You can be anonymous, or you can choose to have a name or pseudonym, whatever you prefer. In Katlehong, go for it.
How are you, Ashraf?
I'm very good.
Ashraf, on this issue of NSFAS, I'm thinking really, is it it's a noble idea actually. But then, why can't at least a student, in order to qualify, then maybe there must be, that cooling period after completing your studies, maybe a cooling period of 2 years or 3 years, because the high level of dropout rate suggests that some of the students maybe are not ready for university. Why can't they put an aptitude test just to measure if this candidate will be able to complete his studies in 3 years or what? Because some, they drop out and it's a money lost. Actually, that's how I feel. I don't know. Maybe.
So you're saying they must have a cooling period of 3 years. Interesting one indeed. Thanks for that, Anonymous. Right, let's get more on the roll call.
Ashraf, good afternoon. I'm Takata in Lani location. I think this roll call is part of the national dialogue. The President Ramaphosa, you want to know who is not performing. But this is just a scapegoat. There is no need to call the councillors, because these people, they are getting money from the municipality managers getting money from the province. So there is no need to blame them. We are all at fault. But the most culprit is the one who had to give the money, is the national government. Thanks, Takata.
Okay, there we are. You think it's more about the national dialogue? I really think the roll call of the ward councillors is a fight for survival. Like, in football terms, your team's losing big time. You need to come back with a victory and a victory plan. Think about that. We'll talk about that victory plan for the ANC after the news at 5. Right now, it's 5 o'clock. Here's Greg House.
Did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This.
And Mashimbi stresses importance of Pakistan tour. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, SK Mpahleli Drive northbound in Pretoria has delays towards Mabopane Highway. The N1 northbound in Midrand slow moving towards Samrand Road, and the N12 R24 westbound in Bedfordview queuing on both routes towards Giluli's interchange. In KZN, the M4 northbound queuing towards Broadway Durban North exit, the M19 westbound in Westville slow moving towards Dunkeld Road, and on the N2 southbound slow moving traffic towards Spaghetti Junction. In Cape Town, Campground Road southbound in Newlands is slow moving. That's between Palmyra Road and Main Road. Palmyra Road southbound in Claremont is slow moving towards Stanhope Road, and Main Road northbound slow moving through Cork Bay. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday? Have you been following the comments of Elon Musk? Some of it via his Twitter or the X platform, but others in that live crossing across the Atlantic on that march, what effectively has been an
immigration march. I wonder if you've been, well, have you followed it, and what do you make of it? Because there's certainly been lots of, obviously, support for him, but there's been criticism, big time too, in terms of where he sees his role, almost like positioning himself, as he did in the US election period, as this parliament, someone who's acting in a parallel government of the world. Just think about that, and if you have a chance, you can certainly comment about it, because I'd like to pick up on that. In the meantime, let's talk about the roll call, the ANC councillors' roll call, right? So we know that just under 5,000 councillors from around the country gathering at the FNB Stadium, and effectively the president of the ANC giving them, potentially the marching orders, holding them to account, telling them they're going to have to deliver a report every quarterly, suggesting, no service delivery is a complete no-no. And if they need help at their branch level, then call upon him to try and increase visibility. So let's get another thought. I mean, that's just one part of it. There's more, right? Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast with me, political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University. I appreciate your time as always. You're on the National Pulse.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right. I suppose you followed the goings on at the FNB Stadium today. What did you make of it?
No, I think the damage is done, and what is done cannot be undone. I think if the ANC was acting in good faith, the call could have been made a long time ago. But this makes me smell a rat, because you are making a call at the 11th hour on the verge of the upcoming local government elections, which begs the question as to what is the thinking behind this call. So I don't think that this call, the roll call, is going to cool off the citizens on the ground. I mean, you have seen many social conflicts that have broken out, people making demands from the local authorities who are not rendering services. So I think it's too late, unfortunately.
All right, but I mean, I suppose, for the purpose of our conversation, we look at it two ways. One is the reality of the ANC as it stands, right? And maybe there your point is like the damage is done. The other is the call by the president to hold his councillors to account. Now, tactically, I mean, surely he has to do that.
Yes, of course. I mean, he is the embodiment of the party, and the party is sort of like preparing for the elections. But I think the question maybe that you are asking is this roll call or these plans of the ANC going to help the party to improve its electoral performance in the upcoming local government elections, given the fact that it has been dealt with a blow in a big way in the general elections, even at local government level? So my answer would be no. I don't think this is going to help the party, though, because I think the party could have done better if it was. I mean, if you get a mandate for 5 years and you don't do anything in between, and when you are left with few months, then you want to make a political intervention of this nature, it's too late. But of course, I mean, the party has to do something.
So let's just take a step back again. When you say the damage is done, right, just so that we're clear about it, what do you actually mean?
Okay, what I mean is that it's simple. The party has not done what it should have done in terms of promoting development for the majority where it governs. The party, year in and year out, gets bad, clean audits, very bad audits in terms of the financial management where it governs. So that's what I mean by people know. Look, a leader is a person that you look up to. If you can ask people if they look up to the leaders at local government level, I can bet my bottom dollar the answer would be no. So many people, they associate municipalities with corruption on a large scale. So that's what I mean by the damage that is done. that people don't look up to the leaders that are leading those municipalities.
Well, look, I mean, I said in your absence in the first part of the show to say the very fact that the president of the ANC in this case here could speak to his troops and remind them how important it is that service delivery must be, public service has to be for public good, not personal gain, is a damning indictment really on the people sitting there, because it suggests that they are using it for public gain or personal gain anyway, right? But fine, that one is aside. The other is let's agree that there's enough evidence that the ANC has been overwhelmingly underperforming in the last few years, and therefore it's an evidence for people to see, right? But insofar as the president then addressing his, and I'm using the word troops more than once, right?
Yes.
In addressing his troops naturally to try and hold on to an election, right? Are you saying that no matter what, he's unable to turn that around? That means the deficit, the trust deficit is too large. It cannot be made up in the 1 year or so approximately that we have before the local government election.
There is no way whatsoever that the president or the ANC can do that, not at the moment. And what compounds the situation is the fact that you also have the SACP on the other hand that is threatening the party to stand by itself, which is going to really make things worse for the party. Even if actually the ANC and the SACP, they can kiss and make up, still the party will be on the back foot. We must remember, I think now the majority of eligible voters, younger people, who have a paradigm shift in terms of how they vote. They don't vote in relation to liberation struggles. They vote in relation to whether the party is able to get the job done. And if you are falling short of doing that, young people will not vote for you. So, normally at local government level, people tend to stay away from the polls. Or if they vote, they don't vote for you. So that's why I'm arguing that I don't think that the electoral performance of the ANC is going to improve for the better.
So I hear that part, but having said that, the to my earlier point, the president as the leader of his party has got to galvanize the troops in the same way that even a failing football club needs the coach in the dressing room to say, come on guys, we've got to win this game, right? So what cards does he have to play at two levels? One is to the local, to his ward councillors, to try and get them to rethink how they go about doing their work on the one hand, and then the second part is he also must be using this as an opportunity to convince you and I and others to say, think about my party when you're voting, because obviously we carried his speech live, he addresses them, but at the same time he's addressing the nation. So he's got two cards to play, the internal card and the external card. What cards does he have to play?
Look, he has to speak for the sake of speaking, but that is not going to bear any fruit. That's my point. Because people have seen the inability of the party to get the job done. So I don't know which cards now he has to play, that we are going to do this and that, roll call every Monday, blah, blah, blah. But I just think that it's too late from my standpoint. I don't think that will sit well with the people, because people have seen the ANC, and they think that the ANC did not honor its commitment of promoting development at local government. People associate local government level with corruption on a large scale.
Fair enough. So in the present tense right now, what options does the president of the ANC have?
In the present tense, I think, they I don't know, they will have to talk about how they can turn the tide, how they are planning to make the situation better, but I think it's all talk. I think what pains people is the fact that they know it's all talk and no action. I think people have seen this movie before. That's the worst part of it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Now let's go back to the general election, which is not the same as local government, because often votes can differ dramatically. But let's use it as the yardstick. So 40% in the last general election. Without spending time on predictions specific, because really the percentages don't really matter. But having said that, where do you see this party then ending up in the local government election?
Look, just to be fair and square, without sounding like a prophet of doom, I think the percentage will will not improve. I think it will be worse than that, unfortunately, because I think there have not been any political indicators that the party is committed to improve good governance. I mean, we hear about cases of corruption on a large scale. You see, yes, I agree with you that there is a difference between these two elections, but also local government is the most, in my view, is the most important sphere of government because it is closer to the people on the ground. And it is not just a sphere, that is responsible to fetch the garbage. It is a sphere that has to grow the economy, create jobs. It needs people with technical skills. But the ANC has not showcased that it understands those things are unfortunate where it governs.
Okay, you use the word unfortunately a few times, so here's the last thing to you, right? Unfortunately for some is fortunate for others. Who's going to pick up that space?
You know what? Unfortunately, because the ANC has been very much hegemonic in the political landscape, and the fact that the turnout has been very low, it means that the ANC will not do well, in my view. So that is going to create a scope for coalition arrangements. We are going to see a lot of coalition arrangements, unfortunately, because the political landscape has been fragmented. So I think coalitions are the future, whether we like it or not. That's how people vote. Others will stay away from the polls. I'm not saying that is a good thing to do. I would encourage people to vote, because even if you don't vote, someone is going to vote for you. But the point I'm making is that we are going to have a lot of coalition arrangements going forward.
Okay, as you said, unfortunately. Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast, appreciate your time here. Political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University. So there we have it regarding the African National Congress. He doesn't believe they'll get to 40% for the local government election. In fact, he thinks they're going to drop even further than that 40. The question is, how far do they go? But the more important one for now, insofar as the president of the African National Congress having this roll call of ward councillors that he's currently having in Johannesburg, is that going to work? When he talks about when the guests talks about the damage being done, and the president talking about highlighting the fact that public service, remember, public service is for public good, not personal gain. He may be saying the obvious truth, but what does it also say about the people that he's addressing? Like, why would he need to say that? I mean, just work that out. Well, what about mining communities in South Africa, big mining communities, and the relationship with the communities around them? Who benefits, who doesn't? We'll talk about that next.
You think you can notify? This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApp
from Notkawe, from Pietermaritzburg, saying, Ashraf, MKP just contradicted themselves in stopping the judicial inquiry. Judiciary implicated and parliamentarians implicated as well. So why not stop parliamentary inquiry as well? Interesting. Another one, South Africa. Yeah, let's pick up others. There's still more about the MK party too.
As always, Ndlela is confused, very confused. On the one hand, he says this thing cannot go on the Commission of Inquiry because judges are implicated. But General Mkhwana has also implicated the police. So what does it mean that they should be left only to the police as if they were not implicated? So I think it's very confused as always. Mzi from the Free State.
Thanks, Mzi. In fact, that's the point that I put to him too. And people can listen to that interview, listen to the conversation up as a podcast, safm.co.za. Listen to it again over supper tonight with your family, right? And then share it on your networks.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I can't believe what I'm hearing from Dlamol. They cannot be saying that now when Jacob Zuma himself has been delinquent for 9 years, Sharp. When he's been delinquent for the whole 9 years, and they are coming today and think they can stop anything. Nothing comes from the MK, I will listen to it. Marumo in my key. They are just talking there. I know I'm not the ANC person, but the MK itself, I don't listen to them. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, that's a quote. They are just talking. Got that. Peter in Freiburg. Hello. Hi, Peter.
Hello, Ashraf. You know you're my very good friend.
Sorry, just repeat.
You know that you're my very good friend.
Who's your very good friend?
Ashraf.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad.
Okay. Look, that guy there that is commenting from there, I don't know how did he go to school. He's out of order. He cannot just come to national television, TV and or radio and start saying things that is not relevant. This is a situation the president is trying to put South Africa in order. He's coming back and discrediting what the effort, instead of him to motivate and talk to people and say, this is what we can do to help the ANC to put South Africans in order. He's trying to destroy South Africa. How did he go to school? That guy is completely out of order.
Okay.
People just come to the radio and promote progress in this South Africa. Why will people always come? They discredit the progress South Africa the government is making. Take for instance, Ashraf. Somebody has told you today, if they don't vote ANC in, they will go back to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I know what that guy is talking about. Because these people, our other parties, they give people money to call on the FM radio, trying to discredit the African National Congress. What is wrong with our people?
All right. So you're saying there's people who are lobbying to get paid and they make their calls. Well, Peter, my friend, as you call it, thank you for your time. Much appreciate your input. And interesting. Look, from an analyst point of view, of course, Dr. Breakfast has got his own opinions. He's a political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University. He clearly has his views. And you know what? You have yours too, right? Well, let's talk about mining after this.
To me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get...
Right. Following the latest merger between Anglo American and Canadia's TEC or Tech Resources, the mining company's social activists around the world are skeptical about this new partnership, arguing that the cycle of broken promises will still continue. Here at home, mining communities are calling for better management of mineral resources with more transparency and accountability in order for mining profits to directly fund local education, healthcare, healthcare as well as infrastructure. So let's get two takes on this with Tricia Sibbins, the Director of Action for Southern Africa, ACT SA. Tricia, appreciate your time here on the National Pulse.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we also have Boyce Kunupi, who's the community representative and the spokesperson for the Tlo Mogale Foundation. Boyce, you are now connected to the National Pulse. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you. Tricia, let's start with you. Thank you. Tricia, let's start with you. What is it about the relationship between mining companies that extract minerals at a profit but employ people at the same time that for you is rather unholy? What's wrong in that relationship?
Well, I wouldn't call it unholy. I would call it completely unfair in terms of recognising the labour and the conditions that mining companies affect on communities and how they compensate communities for being there for the extraction. Is that done in a fair and just way? And so those are the issues really that we look at across the region. For instance, in South Africa, it's really around historic mining in gold. And although Anglo's not now in gold and it's selling off De Beers into a new company, it still has historic legacies that it has not addressed. So we're looking at, with local partners, what still remains to be done for a fair and just share of the mineral wealth that's been taken out of South Africa.
Well, perhaps tell us, what is it that remains to be done?
That's a lot. How much time do your listeners have? Let's look at two particular communities or two particular issues. So one are the mines that were gold mines. They had a million or more gold miners across the region are still waiting for compensation from 6 companies that settled with something called the Tshiamiso Trust, rather than go to a class action for the damage that had incurred on miners' lungs for TB and silicosis over decades. So at the moment, Tshiamiso Trust had their AGM a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about how hard it is to find the beneficiaries and how they've only been able to pay 24,000 people out of what we estimate is more than 500,000 miners or former miners and their families who have died and yet not had compensation, or who are living very painful lives. Silicosis is a very, very, very painful
and is this targeted or angled to Anglo-American specifically, or is this an indictment the way you see it on mining houses in general? Of course, Anglo-American is a major player in that, I get it.
Well, Anglo-American sets itself up to be a kind of mining company of the future. And so in that sense, we are looking very seriously about what have they done and what will they continue to do to clean up the legacies of the mining issues in South Africa. Makua, one of the movements in South Africa, is also dealing with this in terms of how mining affected communities today get to specify, what is a fair recognition of the impact on their communities and what is a fair recognition for the share of profit, if you like, that's coming out of their land and the impacting on their communities. Justice for Miners is another organisation, an NGO working across the region, not just in South Africa, where those miners who came from Swaziland and Lesotho and Zimbabwe, across the region of Botswana, where those miners were sent back home with TB and silicosis from all of the mining companies because they were unfit for work and yet they were not properly compensated. And the Tshiamiso Trust is just the very latest one of these. That settlement was in 2018, and here we are 5 years later, 24,000 people have had compensation. It's just not good enough. The mining companies say, oh, well, we set up this independent trust and the court set this amount and this process. But actually, when you dig down deep, you'll find there are massive unfairnesses and injustices built into how decisions are made. For instance, there are government-issued certificates for people who had TB, and those are not being recognised by the Tshiamiso Trust. They're making very ill people, or people who've already died, are unable to get those compensations for their family, and people who are very ill still have to travel to get yet more certificates, more x-rays to please yet another institution. Whereas when the judge made that call in Pretoria, made that judgment, he said the trustees of the Tshiamiso Trust need to be paying out. Their whole approach needs to be making sure that it's paid out fairly to people rather than inhibiting.
All right.
In Zambia, similar issue. So Anglo-American in Zambia, owned a mine there, a lead contamination between 1928 and 1974. It's a serious issue now. 140,000 people are seeking to take them to a class action.
I'll tell you what, we'll certainly invite Anglo-American to come and give their side of the story maybe tomorrow. But for now, let me bring in Boyce Kunupi as well. We just on to news time, so just very briefly, Boyce, what's your analysis of what Trisha said and how you see things playing out in the communities that you are close to?
Thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers. I think Tricia has just alluded this thing very smart. Actually, he has covered the space. I just need to touch there and then give a direction going forward. Yes, from what Tricia has said, it's what has been happening. And it is so sad when these things, there are bylaws, there's everything there. It's in place from the national treasury to the province to the municipalities. But when it hits the ground, there's an upper hand there. Upper hand coming from the politician and coming from those who are pursuing their interests and amongst other things. I mean, this thing is simple. There's SLP and RLP. Tricia just explained the labor issue. The labor issue is handled by the RLP, Resource Labor Plan. And social labor plan. Social is about bursaries and amongst other things. How do you give back to the communities? They are listed very well, but the one who owns the mine, I don't want to say the mining giants are coming from Australia, Switzerland. That's how they label them.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Boyce. I wish we had.
But the point.
Yeah, I wish we had more time, and maybe we'll develop the story tomorrow because I think it's that important. So, Boyce Kunupi, thanks for your time. And before that, Tricia Sibbins from the Action for Southern Africa. Much appreciate your time here on the National Pulse. Let's get the news headlines.
Thanks very
Here's
much.
Greg. Thank you. That's my daily. That's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily. That's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
Probably all day today. What's the big story now?
Well, Tsepo Chite is through to the 1500 meter final at the World Championship in Tokyo after clocking 3 minutes 36.93 seconds. For a second, it felt like he was not going to make it into the final because he finished 7th at the same time as Britain Neil Gawley, with which officials were forced to look into the 6,000ths of a second to separate them. There was also an appeal that was lodged with the American Cole Hocker disqualified, and then Chite was promoted to 6th spot and into the final, making him the first South African to reach a 1500 meter final since Moscow 2013 when Johan Cronje took bronze. Meanwhile, two-time 400 meter world champion Wade van Niekerk says that he's eager to play his part in the 4x400 meter relay at the ongoing World Senior Champs in Tokyo. Now, van Niekerk injured his back at last year's Olympic Games and withdrew from the relay team, leaving the younger athletes to carry the country's hopes in Paris this time around. He says he's fully fit and determined to be part of the relay side.
I really want to use it as an excuse. And it is very frustrating because you want to be in a position to represent the guys, but then also seeing the position that we were in at World Relays and how the guys has been doing until Paris, I really felt like a bit pressured because I didn't want to hinder them because I knew that the guys without me stood a chance of medaling. So it was a bit challenging, but I think this time around I've set my heart that whether there's niggles or not, I'm going to help the guys and see what happens.
Well, in rugby, Springbok wing Cheslin Colby says that the Boks still have areas to improve, particularly in finishing their opportunities. He believes that the two upcoming tests against Argentina will definitely be crucial in fine-tuning the game as the Rugby Championship heads into its decisive phase. In cricket, Proteas women coach Mandla Mashimbi has highlighted the crucial role the tour of Pakistan will play in their preparations for the ICC Women's World Cup. South Africa currently in the subcontinent and will face Pakistan in a 3 one-day international series starting tomorrow in what will be their first competitive bit of action since playing the West Indies in July.
Yeah, I think the Pakistan one is very important in terms of us trying to create some momentum into the World Cup and also just discovering that last bit of confidence that we need to make sure that, you know, every player from an individual point of view know where their game is at and they're happy with where their game is at. There's no lose-lose situation there. You're always going to win when you go to these type of tours before a big tour, because if you're not on, you will need to know what you need to do to be on when you get to the World Cup. If you are on, you'll need to know what you must carry on to the World Cup as well. So it's a win-win for us. So now, for me, it's a very important tour for us to just gauge where we're at as a team.
In football, Mamelodi Sundowns coach Miguel Cardoso says that Khuliso Mudau will soon rejoin the matchday squad after resolving disputes with the club. The Bafana defender has been absent from training since the start of the season following frustrations over Sundowns' reluctance to sanction a move abroad. Cardoso has confirmed, though, that after resolving his issues, Mudau has now been reintegrated into the squad and is working his way back to full fitness.
Khuliso is solving all his issues with the club. He's training fantastic. We are absolutely sure that pretty soon he's going to be able to help. He's willing to help, and the people in charge of the club will take it with the right responsibility, with the right commitment, and with the right intention to put Khuliso Mudau on the service of the team. We are absolutely working together on everything, and Khuliso is training very well. And there were a few issues that most of them are already solved, so expectations that pretty soon he can help. But also, you need to understand that Khuliso came from a period that he was training alone. And you cannot put an international player, a Bafana player, exposed to a match when he's not still able to perform in the level that people want to see him. So there's a step to make on it, a gradient, progressive gradient that we need to give him so that he arrives on the time and Mudau is there. I don't want people to see a player inside the pitch and say, who is that guy? It doesn't look like Khuliso. No, I want him to, when he enters, he's flying.
Well, there's some good news for Sundowns fans. He is back, not fit yet, but he is being reintegrated into the side.
And you're saying it with a smile. Note it.
Yeah. Well, with that said, it is all right. It's a wrap from my side.
My name is Thabo Senong. I'm a football coach and also a SABC Sport football analyst. Besides football,
the reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Part in the Netball World Youth Cup 2025 in Gibraltar from the 19th to the 28th of September, right? So it comes up soon. These are our rising stars. Hashtag Together We Rise, brought to you by the Department of Sports, Art and Culture.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Let's now get to the money issues. We're today with Dudu Ramela, standing in for Jimmy Moya. Dudu, what's top of the agenda ahead of your 1 hour coming up at 6?
Hi, Ashraf. Thank you very much for that. So we're going to be taking a look this evening at market movements with Rand Swiss. We'll also speak to the South African Tyre Manufacturers Conference about the local tyre market and dumping, which is flooding the market. We also speak to the Institute of Directors in South Africa. You would have seen that boards of various organizations have been making the news for worrying reasons. So we ask the question of whether they are fit for purpose. They'll help us to answer that question. And Tapa Africa is now rebranded to Tupper Africa, but that's Tupperware. They return to South Africa. We'll discuss the role of executors in estate planning as well with Momentum. But before we do that, let's find out how the markets performed today. To help us do that is Henku Kriel. He's MoneyWeb's contributor. Henku, I have a very good evening to you. How did we start the week?
Hello, Dudu and Ashraf, and good evening to our listeners. It definitely wasn't a blue Monday, Dudu. It was a very green one on international markets as well as locally. Still the case in the US. They're still busy trading, still rather early in their trading day. The Dow Jones at the moment 0.2% up, the S&P 500 0.5%, and the Nasdaq 0.8%. Then in Europe, a short while ago, they finished well into the green. The FTSE 100 0.1% stronger today, the DAX 0.3%, and the CAC 40 in France gained 1.1% today, which is quite nice to see for them. Then the JSE, most of the day it was trading in the red, didn't want to jump out of the blocks and start this Monday and this week, but just before 5 o'clock, before closing time, the JSE's All-Share Index decided to finish the day in the green, and it was 0.2% stronger. And another record high today of 104,675 points, as the JSE has been doing these last couple of days, a new record high almost every single day as we go along. The industrial index gained 0.5% this afternoon, also the resources index 0.5%. It was only the financial index which cooled down a little bit today, not by too much, 0.2% weaker. Some individual companies on the JSE that gave strong performances today were Outsurance, 7.5%. The MTN Group and WeBuyCars, they each gained 3%. Richmond, PSG Financial Services, and DRD Gold finished today 2% up. But some of the losers today were Italtal and Premier. They each lost 3%, and Exxaro, FirstRand, and Sasol each 2% weaker. And unfortunately, not nice to see Pick n Pay so regularly on the red list, but today 1.6% weaker. Then if we have a look at the exchange rate, the rand is looking good compared to the dollar, now trading at 17 rand 35 cents to the US dollar, 20 rand 40 to the euro, 11 rand 55 to the Australian dollar, and a British pound will cost you 23 rand 60. On the commodities market, same with gold. Gold price reaching a new high every single day, and now at the moment $3,670 an ounce. Platinum $1,400, and palladium $1,180 an ounce. The oil price at the moment $67.40 a barrel. And then Dudu, I'll finish this report with the price of a Bitcoin, $114,600, and that is also 2,010,000 rand. And Dudu, that's how the markets performed today.
Thank you so much, Henku Kriel, MoneyWeb's contributor. And that's it from the SAFM Market Update team with MoneyWeb. Ashraf, we're back with you at the top of the hour.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Dudu. 15 minutes to the 1 hour of the SAFM Market Update. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking to you next, because you're obviously on the pulse. I need to feel you.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer...
This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my That's My Point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their...
It's on Thursday. It's the Nedbank IMC, Africa's biggest marketing conference. And you know what? SABC is partnering. I'm proud to be a partner for that, right? So 25 top speakers, 6 of them global keynote speakers, with a theme of marketing is business. You want to be there? You should be. And to get there, you can come in person, and you can also check it out online. Go to the website, imcconference.com. But I'll tell you what, if you're coming in person, then I'll see you there, because the show will come from there. Don't forget, marketing is business.
Ashraf Garda on the National Pulse.
Right, let me hear what you have to say. Here's one from Acorn Hook anonymously. Listen to this. I mean, this is South Africa. A big crook telling other crooks to leave their crooked lives. Ramaphosa is a joke and a liability. There's nothing to show since in power. But the previous caller we had who said, there are people from other parties who effectively get paid to call in to knock the ANC. I mean, is that true? We can't prove it. I'm just asking you. Is that true?
Ashraf, Johnny Mahala from Gqeberha. I feel it's too little too late. The desperate scrambling by the presidency to cover the tracks of a woeful legacy since 2017 and before is sad and pathetic. Desperation is the motivation in this case, and I think the public is not fooled. My dear brother, I know you are not.
Okay, we are not fooled. I hear that. Is the public fooled? But listen, I mean, okay, they've lost ground. But there's nothing in their policies that suggests, from an ANC perspective, that, hey, we are going to do wrong things. They, in fact, are speaking up the need to reform and to stay in power, understandably. So everybody wants to stay in power, but to reform, to do so now. I mean, that's the right way to do it, isn't it? I'm just wondering, how many cards do they have? In terms of losing out on the service delivery race, I mean, there's no question. There's just so many holes, and that's very, very sad.
Hello, Ashraf and SAFM listeners. This thing of our president calling all his councillors and mayors, what a difference was this going to make? It's just another expenditure of our tax money, and they'll come back with empty promises as usual. Sir Elton Douglas.
Sir Elton Douglas, and I really thought you were going to say John, but anyway, what do I know about music? Thank you for that, Sir Elton Douglas. Here's another.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. It's Andrew from Butterworth. Ashraf, I really love South Africans. They should continue voting for the ANC, and they will join us Zimbabweans, swimming in poverty. They must just continue voting ANC, just like Zimbabweans did with ZANU-PF there. Let them continue doing it and see the result. Of course, people are already seeing the results.
Why do you sound so happy saying that? You wouldn't be happy then, would you? It'd be sad, I would think. Empathy?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Maru Momahiking. Imagine somebody calling on radio and say people must still vote for the ANC, even though they have not done right for the past. Imagine again repeating that same thing, saying that we must vote for the same ANC. People are taking chances, Even if they can gather in all the stadiums here around the world, I'm not going to listen to them. Now, especially in my gang, I'm so fed up with them. They can gather wherever they want to gather. Not going to listen to them. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Maroon.
Okay, I'm not here to campaign for any party, but in the light of what you pick up, and I need to pick up a thread of that, so it's a natural question. If not the ANC, then who?
Hi, Ashraf. I don't know if you know that If you come out of your house and look around everywhere in South Africa, the way South Africa it is today, it is what it is. This country is what it is today because of the ANC. If the ANC look at this country, they must look into themselves inside the ANC and inside the country. Just a simple thing.
I think they are looking. I just think, can they jump out of that well? I mean, that's really what it is, isn't it? Who's going to lead them in doing just that?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I can't believe what I'm hearing from Dlamol. They cannot be saying that now when Jacob Zuma himself has been delinquent for 9 years, Sharp. When he's been delinquent for the whole 9 years, and they are coming today and think they can stop anything. Nothing comes from the MK, I will listen to it. Marumo in my key. They are just talking there. I know I'm not the ANC person, but the MK itself, I don't listen to them. Thank you.
Okay, that one didn't delete, so I played it again. I didn't play it for emphasis. I'm just telling you, just so you know, it didn't delete. But there we are. Does he have a point? Thabo in Kroonstad, go for it. Hi.
Yes, Ashraf, what I want to say, there was a by-election in Bothaville here. ANC is always going to win the election. IEC is the ANC. The boxes of IEC already marked ANC was found in the way from Welkom to Bothaville. The corruption of ANC and IEC.
But which box is the ones for the new coming election now?
Yeah, the one of Ward 7 in Bothaville.
Oh, for the
ANC won it because INC they are corrupt. They bring already marked ANC voters, which is not there. In South Africa, where there is DA, it can control them. Where there is no DA, ANC is corrupt, and IEC they just mark ANC. They put the boxes, and then ANC is winning all the way. We will stay with the situation, all the collapse. I say the country is in tatters. We've got a big problem. Thank you, Ashraf.
Okay, got that. Thank you very much. Again, the length and the breadth, the width of the different comments we have, in many ways, is really refreshing, right?
Hi, Ashraf and the SFM listener. Actually, Ashraf, I don't understand the work of the councillors. I don't know actually what is the purpose of having the councillors, because they're just there to save in the time and get the salary bill. There is nothing they're going to change. Things must change by the government. Those people is just there to serve them with the money. What are they going to do? And just holding the meeting with the community, say, I will reduce the crime. How is going to reduce the crime? Just calling the meeting now and then.
Okay, well there you are. I think people are not convinced with the action plan, really speaking. Here's another.
Hi, Ashraf. JJS Tax Plates. What is Ramaphosa is saying is the same thing that Zuma was saying year after year. We are going to clean up. The ministers are going to have a report. Going to be a sports report. There's going to be point scoring. I'm going to check. But we never had that score. What was the score for those ministers and everyone else?
Tell you what, I looked at something that's like classic influencer marketing. Ramaphosa said today, and I quote, "Those municipalities that do best are not ANC-controlled municipalities. They are often DA-controlled municipalities." And that comes from Ramaphosa. The only reason I'm looking at it is that's been posted on the DA Instagram account saying, you see, Ramaphosa endorses DA good governance. I've sort of replied to that and say, see, that's what you call influencer marketing, because it certainly is.
Hello, Ashraf. This is Tepiso Obatung Ashraf. Why are we really surprised by Mr. Ramadamela being shocked about anything? The state of service delivery, he was shocked about the state of Johannesburg, especially Park Station and the trains. He's always shocked. NC is losing. Actually, they have lost the plot, Ashraf, and they need to go. That is a fact. They need to go. Like today, I'm hearing it. Like I was driving to work, and I'm hearing that the new minister is talking about the war room. The war room for what? They must stop with all these terms, war room, what happened to the National Development Plan. They just have to stop and do the work.
They must change the war room to the working room, maybe. Maybe that's what you're saying. Yeah, okay, points taken. I tell you what, there's, and talking about what was said earlier on, here's one about Gwede Mantashe.
Good afternoon, Ashra. Good afternoon, Ashra. Mr. Gwede, he just nailed it. He just nailed it. It shows that we've been led by the Dololos from the past 30 years. And I think going to the next to the next election, we need to consider and think twice about what Mr. Mantashe said today. He actually opened my eyes and also opened my thinking about voting ANC again. Thank you so much. Bye.
Open your eyes, open your thinking is another.
Yeah, Ashraf, Ramaphosa's address to the councillors regarding the performances of the municipalities is nothing less than a cock and bull story. You see, he is locking the stable door after the horses have bolted. So just a nauseating exercise we are experiencing. Thanks, it's Willie here in Kuma.
Thanks, Willie. Come on. Is there an ANC, is there a South African who is convinced enough that Ramaphosa is on the right track? There's a problem, but what he's saying is profound and needs to be taken seriously because he knows what's good for the country right now. I mean, really.
Ashraf, there is no justice in South Africa. Even human rights doesn't care for South Africans. I am the one and I am the witness. Home Affairs delayed my life for 22 years. Yet I didn't know about human rights. I only heard about it on SAFM. Then I started to write to them. But now I can see it's true. There is no justice in South Africa. This land is not for South Africans. It's for those.
So who's the land for? When you say it's for those, I'm not too sure who you mean.
Give that man a bells. Give that man a bells. Give Ramaphosa and his comrades a bells. They know what they're supposed to be doing. But why are we having a national dialogue then if you know what South African wants? I don't know, worry. You, Ramaphosa, and your comrades, what do you take South Africans for? Some kind of fools who cannot think for themselves. Because now we are heading to the votes, you are saying all these things.
As you say, here's a comment. Strange how Elon Musk himself, a first-generation American immigrant of South African Canadian origin, speaks against immigration and immigrants. That's a serious case of confusion, a cognitive dissonance for you right there from Tafara. But Tafara, I hear you. But you know what's the part is he's got clout, man. He's got power. He's got huge influence. So let me just wrap up by this. There was this march this week in London called Unite the Kingdom Rally. I think about 100,000 people were there. Some said 1 million, but the majority say 100,000. Anyway, at its general tone, it's very anti-immigration. And Elon Musk had this live cross-in to this march from the other side of the Atlantic. And some of the things he said, right, I think there's something beautiful about being British. And what I see happening here is a destruction of Britain, initially a slow erosion, but rapidly increasing erosion of Britain with a massive uncontrolled migration. And then he says, a failure by the government to protect innocent people, including children who are getting gang raped. It's unreal. The government has failed in its duty to protect its citizens, which is a fundamental duty of government. And then he says, you can't. We don't have another 4 years or whenever the next election. It's too long. And then something's got to be done. There's got to be a dissolution of parliament and a new vote held. And then saying, violence is coming to you. Then he says, you either fight back or you die. Now there's more. All this is said by a person on the other side of the world speaking about another country. He did the same thing with the US election. You just wonder what his Elon Musk's agenda? He said it about South Africa too, isn't it? No, there's no new United Nations, isn't it? But is there a parallel United Nations being formed even before our very eyes? Think about it. Thanks for listening to the National Pulse. Get the podcast up as well. Here's Greg House with the news at 6.
Thank you again, Ashraf. Concern over the country's healthcare system, and President unveils a service delivery action plan. Good evening. Human rights and social justice activist Mark Hayward says the country's healthcare system has reached crisis point and requires immediate government intervention. The public health system faces a worsening